Okay, this is a recording for the homework exercises. The first four problems at the end of chapter 6, working with ranges. We'll go ahead and start with exercise number 1. This talks about an employee's scores file, employee scores.xlsx. This contains the same data as the ranges, but it doesn't have any VBA code. Also, there's a header cell, and the data starts in row 3. Says save a copy of this file as employee scores 1. Work on this copy to do the following. Okay, so we're going to do some A through F here on this cell. Let's go ahead and save this file as file save as employee scores 1. And let's see, I'm going to save this. Where am I going to save this? I'm going to save this in my files somewhere. How about right here? I'm going to save it as an XLSM so it saves my code. Okay, so we've got our new file here. I'm going to click on the white space. I'm going to insert a module for this file, employee scores 1, insert module. And it's going to give me this blank module here. So let's go ahead and set up a sub. Employee scores 1. How about that? And then I'll come down here. I'll do a couple spaces. I'll indent. And let's do 1.A. Boldface the font of the label in cell A1. Change its font size to 14. So let's go ahead and just do this in one line here. I'm going to assume this is the active sheet. I'll go ahead and type in the active sheet. WS data. We're going to do a range, and we're going to do A1, correct? Now with that range, what are we going to do? We're going to change the font of that range. So we're going to do dot font. There it is. It's coming up on the list. That's a good sign. What are we going to change in the font? We're going to do a bold. So we're going to do another dot bold. And the format here is just an equals true. That's what we're going to do for font. We're going to bold that font in cell A1. And it says change its font size to 14. So I'll just go ahead and type it again. Range A1, since we're only doing this. It looks like this A is just this one cell. So we'll go ahead and do this again. Font size. So we're going to do font again. We're going to type in the name size. And here we're going to enter 14. That's what they want us to enter. And that is 1.A. Let's do 1.B. Boldface and italicize the headings in row 3. Change the horizontal alignment to the right. Okay, so we've got three things: bold, italicize, and horizontal alignment. Let's go ahead and do width, WS data range. And here I'm going to do A3. And again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to do that entire header from A3 to F3. So if we're going to do these A3 to F3, I'm going to type in the range here, A3 to F3. And that's going to be my width construction. I'm going to go ahead and type my end width so I don't forget to type it first before I type in the content inside of the width construction. So we've done this range. We're going to take the font. We're going to bold it. We're also going to take another font and we're going to italicize it. And then we're going to take the horizontal alignment. I'll type in .hor, hit, and that's the right one, horizontal alignment, hit tab. And then this is the one where you use a specific command here. I think they want us to align it to the right here. Yes, here's the right in the problem. So we'll come in here and type XL right. And that is 1B. So if we run this, and I've commented out 1.A, let's run just 1.B here. I'll click on F8 to run the sub. It comes down to this line. Here's my width. Here's the font. Here's the bold, italicized, and notice that it's bold and italicized over here. And now we'll hit F8 again. That will realign it. We'll end the width, and we'll end the sub. So that is 1B. Okay, let's come down here and we will type 1.c. I'm just giving myself a little bit of comments here. And then I'm also commenting out my previous work just so that I can um, run one part at a time here. So 1C, change the color of the font for the employee numbers in column A to blue or any shade that you like. So let's change that color to blue. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do our WS data, name our sheet, we'll name our range. What is our range? We want to go from A4 through A21. What do we want to do with that range? Well, we want to change the color of the font to blue or any shade you like. So we're going to do font, and we're going to do color, and then we're going to do equals, and there's a code name here for VB, and that's kind of the prefix for some of these colors that they have. So let's try blue, and let's see if that works here. So I'm going to hit F8. F8 comes down to this line. After I hit F8 again, it should change the employee numbers, the font numbers to blue. And sure enough, we've got the blue. So that's a good sign. Okay. Now we're ready to go to 1.D. So I'm going to come down here. 1.D says, what does 1.D say? Actually, let's comment this out. Let's comment this guy. Change the background, the interior property of the range with scores to gray or any shade you like of the range with scores. So this is going to be the range here of scores. So we're going to go B4 to F21. Change the interior of the cell, which is the background of these cells, to gray. Let's try that. WS data dot range. Open parentheses quote B4 to F. I already forgot what it was. 21. Close quote, close parentheses, dot interior. So interior is the property that we're using for this range of these cells. Okay, so we have our interior here. Now we can write the color, and we can set that color equal to VB blue, like we did for our font color. And that works fine. Let's test this. I'll hit F8, 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 and sure enough, it's changed it to blue. F8 one more time, and we exit the sub. But if we try to do VB gray, what happens? F8, oh, it says variable not defined. So this VBA gray doesn't exist. There's a VBA blue. We can change it to VB, not VBA, just VB red. If we change that, we can do F8, F8, F8. That works. We can do VB black. F8, 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 F8. We can do VB white. Notice the black is not very helpful when our font is black. VB white. F8, F8, F8. Now, you'd think that would take it back to normal, but that's actually different because the grid lines are gone. So the fill here is is still white. But if we can't do gray, what do we do? Now, I found a website that allows us to use more than just the basic VB colors. And there's what Excel has done, and I'll go ahead and put this in a comment too here. On this website, there's a list of colors. And there's another command called color index, where you can use the color index property for an interior cell and change to any one of these 56 colors. So gray looks good at about 16. Let's see if we can put a color index into this interior command. So instead of color, we're going to do color index, and we're going to use a number. This number is going to be 16. 16 comes from this code right here that's been pre-coded into VBA. So we're using the color index. Here's an example of the interior color index, and we're going to set that equal to 16, which is gray. And let's run that and see what happens to our cells. So I'm going to hit F8, F8, F8. Look at that. So it changed it to gray. If I click off, that's kind of a dark gray. If we look back at the colors, let's do 15. 15 is a little bit lighter gray. Let me click F. Let me go ahead and change this from 16 to 15. Hit F8. That ends the previous run. I'll hit F8 again. We'll start it again. F8 again runs that line, and sure enough, that's kind of a lighter, easier to see gray on the spreadsheet. I like that. So we'll click F8 again, and we are good to go on problem 1D. Next, we're going to come to 1E. So let me come down here, 1.E, and let me comment this line, and let's look at this. Enter the label averages in cell A22 and boldface it. So let's go to A22. We're going to enter a label called averages and then boldface that. So let's come back here. WS data, that's probably a good habit to get into. Range, A22.value is equal to averages. We just want that label, just that text in that cell. Notice that, let's see, the next one is we can go ahead and bold it. So we'll do range A22 dot font dot bold equals true. And that will bold that label. And let's run these steps. F8, F8, F8. There you go. We have averages and we have bold. So we are good to go there. I'll go ahead and comment those out. And let's go to 1.f. Comment my 1.f. Enter the formula in cell B22 that averages the scores above it. Copy this formula to the range C22 through F22. So we're basically building this row out. We're going to create a formula here. We're going to copy that from C22 to F22. So this is the formula one. We have our WS data. We have our range. We know it's B22. We're just going to go ahead and enter the formula here. We need an equals sign. And we're going to average. We're going to use the average formula from Excel. And what are we going to average? We're going to average cells B4 through B21. So we're going to type in B4 colon B21. This is just like you would type it in if you were writing the formula in Excel. And then we're going to copy that to the other cells, cell C22 through F22. Okay, so we're going to come down here and we're going to copy range B22. Copy is the method, and the destination colon equals a range. And what's that range? That range is going to be C, whoops, forgot my quotes, C22 through F22. Does that make sense? That's the destination that we're going to copy that range to. And once we do that, let's go ahead and run that. So we got F8. F8 brings us all the way down here. All the above lines are commented out. We'll go ahead and do the average again. And we're going to copy that from C22 to C22 through F22. And there we go. Now there's one more line that I think I want to put in here, which is a number format line. So let's go ahead and type in WS data range. And I'm going to do B22 through F22. And this is just me being a little bit, I don't know what's the word. I want to just kind of format these numbers so that they don't go all over the place in my code. So I'm going to do that. And let's run this one more time. F8, 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 and that will clean up the number formatting. And we are good to go on 1.f. If we wanted to, we could come and uncomment these lines here, and we could run this entire code. Whoops, this one still does need to be commented out. This one can be uncommented, and all this is uncommented, and this is uncommented. And that leaves kind of our labels here, as well as our website. And we can run this whole thing and see what happens here. So I'll come up here, I'll click on A1, come back in here to the sub, click on run, and we should see all of those 1 through F run. Sure enough, there's the change in size in bold. There's our bold italics to the right aligned. There is our VB blue. There is our interior color gray, which is 15. And then our averages and those scores down below.